Hi, my name is Keiana Fountain.
And I'm Jodie Lewis.
We are here to discuss topics like self love, personal development, mental health, unlearning and relearning with age, and everything in between.
It's time to reflect. This is the Mirror Mirror podcast.
Okay, so welcome back, everyone, and welcome to our first time listeners or viewers. We're so excited to be back. I know it's been a while. So, today for this episode, we have a couple special guests with us, and we're just going to go around and introduce ourselves to kick us off. So, I'll go ahead and start. My name is Keiana Fountain. I am the brand manager and HR coordinator at One Change Group, and I'm also a co host for Mirror Mirror Podcast. And I'll go ahead and pass it along to my co-host.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's good to have y'all here. My name is Jodie Lewis, and I am the executive director and mental health counselor for One Change Group, and I am the other co-host of the Mirror Mirror podcast.
Amazing. And then today is a special episode because we have two of our very special guests and we're releasing a partnership, and we'll hold off to talk about that a little bit more later. So I'll go ahead and pass it to Kaylee Stevens. Could you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Kaylee. I'm the executive director of Community Cancer Services, which is who One Change Group is partnering with. But yeah.
Nice
Kaylee,
to meet
nice
you.
to have you here.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us today. And then our last but not least, one of our very own change makers at One Change Group, we have Irene Top.
Hi, everybody. My name is Irene. I'm the clinical director at One Change Group. I also provide individual therapy for One Change, and I'll be working closely with Kaylee as I'm in the same area as the Community Cancer Center. So I'm excited to talk a little bit more about that partnership. And yeah, nice to meet everybody.
Woo! Thank you so much for introducing yourselves. Kaylee, could you talk a little bit more about what Community Cancer Services is, what kind of services you provide, and what this partnership means to you?
Yeah. So I'll start from the first question. Community Cancer Services, it was founded in 2002 by Heather Gibson and Cynthia Dalsing from Sandpoint, Idaho. Heather was diagnosed with cancer herself and was quickly finding that there weren't a lot of resources here for her. She had support from family and friends, but didn't have support in didn't have the right treatment facilities in the area. So she was having to drive back and forth from her home here in Sandpoint all the way to either Coeur d'Alene or Spokane or Post Falls, just depending on what the treatment was. And then with driving and receiving treatment, she was talking to a few of the people at the treatment centers and realized that they were dealing with the same thing. And a lot of them were coming from further areas as well. So they founded Community Cancer Services. And then it's grown since then. Obviously, they started with just doing bringing food to people in the hospital and helping that way, having a place for somebody to go that felt like home. Now we still have the place to come that feels like home, but we do a physical support program, a financial support program, and then we're now with One Change Group, a emotional support program as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What is
Thank
the
you.
physical support program? What do y'all do?
Yeah, so we have weekly yoga classes that are held in our office. We have a little yoga room here and a really awesome yoga instructor. Yeah, she's amazing. Her name's Maria. And then we also have a few of the gyms in the area we've kind of teamed up with, and we'll help our clients receive the proper physical training or strength training that they need. Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
I'm always saying that the foundation of mental health is our sleep, nutrition, exercise. So the fact that y'all have that aspect in your program, I think is really beautiful.
Yeah, we've found that when people get diagnosed with cancer, their first step is it's overwhelming, obviously, and their first step is just figuring out how to get to the treatment. So the majority of our new clients are wanting the financial services, which we of course provide. And then as they're going through treatment, the emotional and the physical toll kind of starts to take. So we created those programs to kind of help out with the full aspect of what it is to go through a cancer treatment.
Right. Yeah.
What you
Very
guys are doing is
holistic.
beautiful.
Yeah. Yep.
Amazing. I have a question for Irene. So, from a mental health perspective, what are some of the biggest challenges that you feel this community is faced with?
So to be completely honest, this is kind of my first time moving into this population. So I think that it's going to be a learning experience for me, as well as the way that I typically approach any person that walks into my office. I think that everyone's going to have different needs, right? Different people are going to have support systems that look different. They're going to have different things going on in life. You know, cancer is obviously a very big diagnosis to be moving through, and that is going to be a piece, but also inside of that, there are going to be life stressors that are coming in as well. Kaylee mentioned the financial aspect. So I think that providing a basis of coping skills is how I would approach it, and then making sure that I'm meeting the client's needs where they're seeing those come in. But I don't know, I haven't worked enough in that population to say, oh, this is specifically the biggest need that I would see for someone who is getting treatment for cancer.
Yeah, 100%. That makes sense.
Just kind of wrapping it back for just a second, I'm wondering if Kaylee, if you'd be willing to just talk a little bit about how One Change Group and the collaboration between One Change Group and Community Cancer Services, how that came about, what your vision was, and what you're hoping to see in your vision moving forward with that.
Yeah. So CCS, we with our emotional support program, we have had and still have two support groups that are led by two different oh my gosh, I don't know, facilitators, I guess is what we would call them. And then we also last year, or for the past, I think it's been at least the past 5 years, we've had a one-on-one counselor that was in the office. That counselor moved away, so we lost that position. And then we were kind of faced with, do we hire another counselor to come in and just have the one person that's a part-time position to do one-on-one counseling for us? Or do we look like elsewhere and try to think of other ideas to maybe be able to help more people? Our one-on-one counselor was able to take on, I think she had 11 clients, but those 11 clients stayed with her for the past 2 years. So we weren't any new clients that were coming on. While we would put them on a list or try to get them in with her, she was part-time. She had another full-time position, so it wasn't something that we could offer as frequently as we would have liked. So when we were kind of faced with the choice of either hiring again for part-time or reaching out to somebody like One Change Group, if the choice was kind of obvious, One Change Group, and Jodie, you can talk more about this, but One Change Group has been able to offer more to our clients. Any new client that comes on immediately gets asked if they want to receive counseling from you guys, and you guys are able to take on more clients than what we could have with just one counselor in the office.
I'm really excited about this collaboration between our two agencies. That, you know, supporting the cancer community is very near and dear to my heart. And I know that most everybody is affected by somebody that has experienced cancer, or you know, it does affect each of us personally. And so the way that we're going to be able to meld the vision behind One Change Group, which is creating healthy change in our mission, in combination with y'all's mission, I think, is going to be really beautiful and just support our communities so much more. One of the things that that makes One Change Group unique is all of our counselors have their CRCs, which not only are they well versed and experienced in mental health, but they're also experienced in working with people with disabilities. And sometimes cancer can automatically qualify somebody for that area. So, for example, Irene has had the specific training on how to help people who are coping with different types of med aspects to cancer or other types of disabilities. She has the specialized experience of helping work with all people with disabilities, which is kind of a unique I guess, specialty that One Change Group does. So I'm really excited to be able to have our counselors collaborate with your organization and support the people that you guys are serving. Kaylee, I'm really excited about this. So I was really glad that when you reached out to us, and I love that we have Irene boots on the ground in the Bonner County area. She can, serve really all of North Idaho out of our Sandpoint office. And so I think that it's just going to be a really beautiful collab, and I'm excited for that.
Me too.
Yes, we are. Question for you, Kaylee. How does Community Cancer Services tailor its approach to meet the diverse needs of the cancer community?
Yeah, well, I love the diverse needs because that's like specifically what we try to focus on. Our cancer is not one size fits all. Like every cancer diagnosis is different and every client is different and they all have different needs. We have our 3 set programs: emotional, financial, and physical. But we try to help out in any way that we can. So, for example, we have a client who every year needs help getting firewood. So we purchase firewood from local co-op store, have it brought out to his house, and then he has firewood for the whole winter. So that's just an example of different needs that pop up that we try to help out with. If a client needs help with paying a propane bill to stay warm during the winter, whatever they need, we try to help out. And our financial support program has a bunch of different categories in it. So we help out with gas, which is the main one that people are needing since we don't have a lot of treatment. We have a small treatment facility here, but they don't take as many of the community as you would think. And since we're in Bonner and Boundary County, we're also helping people like all the way out in Moye Springs, which is a good hour and a half away from where even our office is. So they're driving thousands of miles just to receive treatment. So gas is the main thing that a lot of people are needing in the financial program. But we also help out with groceries. Having proper nutrition during a cancer journey is super important. So we want to make sure that our clients aren't having to choose between gas or good food. And then we also help out with some medical bills as well. So as their cancer journey is going through and they're going through all the treatment and the bills start to trickle in, we try to help offset that as well. A cancer diagnosis itself is hard to cope with, as you guys know. So to be able to help our clients through the just unexpected life things that pop up in the middle of it is our focus. And we really try to fit all the diverse needs of each client.
It's really beautiful what I'm hearing from you, Kaylee, too, because it sounds like you're not just grouping everybody into one group. You're meeting the people right where they're at and allowing them the possibility for kind of like to be able to get the support and services they need without having to go through a bunch of hoops. And I think that's really important for people that are being faced with illness such as cancer. So it's really beautiful what y'all are doing.
Yeah, I had a lady come in last week that was asking if we had this book that was on cancer nutrition, and I was like, I don't have it, but I'll buy it for you. So I went and got her the book, and yeah, just anything that comes up that can help them or just make them feel supported is what we're here for. That's the foundation of us.
So beautiful, and it kind of helps them stay grounded too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Irene, if you wouldn't mind talking or maybe even just discussing the importance of mental health support or like as it relates to the overall treatment and recovery process for cancer patients.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of science, and it's within my own personal belief that emotional health is very much tied to your physical health. When you have high cortisol levels, that's going to be affecting the way that your body is working, essentially. And so, when you're going through something like cancer or any sort of chronic illness, being able to have an outlet to kind of talk through and vent through some of those things that are coming through that diagnosis, but also provide skills for maybe mindfulness or things to bring some of that stress down so that your body can focus on healing and not on the stress that is coming in from whatever is happening through that diagnosis. We also, in my program, when we were talking about chronic illness and learning about those things, there's a lot of different modalities that come into accessibility and illness. And part of that is learning to navigate a world differently when you're going through something that is changing your body. And I think that even being able to notice and have someone validate that, hey, yeah, the world might be a little bit different for you as you navigate this chronic illness, and your body maybe isn't as able to navigate some of these barriers that are naturally put within the world for those that are disabled or have a disability. I think that's another piece of the mental health awareness that can happen there too. No.
I love that you bring that up because change, Keiana and I have been talking a lot about change lately, and change is challenging even when it's good change. So for people who are getting a new diagnosis as it relates to their physical health and even with mental health, there can be a lot of anxiety and stress surrounding diagnosis. But when people are being faced with a physical health issue such as cancer, it's not a one size all fits thing. It's very unique. It's very individual to the person, how they are going to relate to that diagnosis and what that means for them. And based on their life experiences, maybe they've experienced somebody that they've lost to cancer, or maybe they've lost somebody within their family, or maybe it's a genetic type illness that can affect them. And although they've gone through it, maybe with somebody else, to go through a diagnosis yourself, I think can be really challenging, and everybody has a different way of, I don't know if accepting is the right word, but moving through that diagnosis. I think creating that safe space that you're creating for the people that you're working with, Irene, I think is a really beautiful thing that you do.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to continue to partner with CCS and just provide another avenue for accessibility for that population. I think that is really beautiful that we're able to come together and do that.
Good.
I'd like to ask a quick question to the group. So, Keely, Keiana, Irene, what are you each excited about as it relates to collaborating these two companies together? Do any of you have a personal experience of somebody who's gone through cancer, whether it be friends or family? And what's your passion for coming to this table that we're all talking about now?
Oof, that's a good question, Jodie.
Well, we're supposed to have those good questions.
Yes.
Do you want me to go first?
Please.
Sure. Take it away.
What was the first part of your question? Excited about for our I'm excited for so many things. The executive director side of me is excited for our organizations to be partnering, because it opens up a lot of opportunities for both of us. And then also just for our clients and the people in the area that we are able to help. Like I said, we're now able to help a lot more people with the emotional support side of things. And I just see it just growing from there. So I'm super excited for that. Also, just like the people, I love you guys. So I'm excited to be able to partner with you guys on this. I think it's a good team of people. And our fundraisers, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, but I'm
Yes.
excited about the fundraiser. Okay, second part of your question. What was it?
Do you have a personal experience with being affected by cancer in some way, or what has brought, like, what's the passion behind you coming to this table with this group of women today?
Yeah, so before CCS, I've been in CCS for 2 years, but before CCS, I've had multiple people in my family, multiple friends that were diagnosed with cancer. Some passed from it, some made it through. So that's always, I think, but that's everybody. Everyone knows someone or has been affected by cancer in some way. But then being here and working for CCS, the clients obviously have had a huge emotional impact on me. Super close with the majority of them. I talk to them all the time. I've gotten to know a lot of them. So I know their stories, I know their families, I know their kids and their moms, and it is what drives me. I want to continue to help these people. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing, Kaylee.
Amazing. I want to piggyback off of Kaylee's answer. From a brand manager perspective, I'm really excited about just partnering because, like she said, it opens a lot of doors for both of us, and just reaching the maximum amount of people possible. That's our goal, just helping as many as we can. And another thing I'm really excited about is our fundraiser coming up, and we'll definitely talk about that a little bit later. But I'm just really excited to get out in the community face to face and just see the impact that we have in person. So that'll be really great. I'm excited for that this year. And then my personal experience with somebody that has cancer, my aunt, when I was in middle school, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And at the time, she was living about an hour away from us. But during her treatment, she decided to move in with us. And I think during that time, I was like, wow, my aunt is so cool. Like, just really getting to live with her. It was a different experience. And then also living with my cousin, her son. So that really brought our family closer, I would say. And the outcome of that, I think I learned that a big healing factor would just be community. So the fact that we can provide community for people that are going through these treatments is something amazing. And I think it's very impactful.
Yeah. So you really experienced it firsthand, right? Within your that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Keiana. About you?
I would have to agree with Keiana on the community piece. I also have had family members, like Kaylee said, we've all really been connected with people who have experienced cancer. And something beautiful about my family is that we are so close and connected, and not everyone has that community just available to them. And I think that it is really exciting that One Change Group can, in a way, be a part of that community that someone can have as they're going through something that's very difficult and life changing. And I feel incredibly blessed to even be able to be a part of that experience and have people allow me to enter that space, because I know it's really vulnerable. And that's why I love my job, is because I get to experience that with people. And so bringing them into that community, that's what I'm the most excited about.
For sure.
Thank you guys for sharing that.
Okay. What about you, Jodie?
For me, cancer, it's supporting people with cancer is very near and dear to my heart. One of my very dear friends passed away from cancer. We became friends in 4th grade, and her name was Jenny. We used to ride our ponies together. I remember we would be riding my little pony. Well, she didn't have pony, I had the pony, but we'd be riding my little pony bareback through this field and having burping contests. So that is something that Jenny and I really enjoyed when we were in 4th grade. Anyway, we grew up together. Jenny, I was in Jenny's wedding and she watched my daughter be born. Well, she actually passed out right before Lucy was born. So she missed the big deal. But anyway, so we grew up together. Jenny was diagnosed with cancer at a very young age, and she went through a lot and passed away when we were pretty young. With that being said, Jenny, one of the things that she experienced while she was going through cancer was she wanted to see people who were affected by cancer. So not even just the cancer patient themselves, but their family members or whoever, be able to get the support that they needed without having to go through all the ropes. And so her and her sister, Julie, had talked about that. And Julie started an organization called Celebrate Life. And it was a fun run walk. And people would donate to that organization. And then Julie worked really closely with the community to donate that money back into the community. All people had to do was just call her up and say, hey, this is what we need. And she was able to make that happen for them. And early on, Celebrate Life partnered with Community Cancer Services. And so when Kaylee reached out to me and asked me if I would be willing to support Community Cancer Services, obviously the answer is yes. One of the things that she said to me is they'd been trying to find counselors, and that I'm getting a little shaky. I'm getting a little emotional about it, but they were trying to find counselors and that there was waiting lists a mile long. Well, with our organization, there's a big waiting list as well. But what we committed to Kaylee that we would do is we would hold spots on our calendar for the patients that they're dealing with and make sure that we can support them, individually and get them in as quick as we possibly can. And then it was really exciting because Kaylee and I were able to talk about our different fundraisers, our different programs, because we're a nonprofit as well. She was talking about being able to pay for all those services through Community Cancer Services. And I said, well, hey, we have a scholarship fund too. Why don't we work together? So we've been able to support that on an even greater level. So I'm excited about this partnership and this collaboration. So
Me too.
Wow. That's beautiful. It's like a full circle moment for you.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. Okay. I want to talk about language, like wording, things like that. And I feel like you have a lot of knowledge on that, Jodie. So I'm gonna kind of target you right now with a question.
hold on. I'm like shaking. I don't know
You
why.
good?
Hey, okay.
We're
I
good.
did my yoga this morning. I did my Peloton this morning. I'm still like, oh,
You're good.
okay. I should have done my therapy this morning.
We're good.
Okay. I think Irene and I could be good with it for this. So yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll jump into the looking forward, or is there?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. I also want to
Irene
do our icebreaker.
Oh yeah. Okay. And then Irene and Kaylee, do you have any other things that you're thinking that we might be missing or
I don't think so.
that you
Fuck
want
me.
to
Okay. We got about 15 minutes left, so we'll try to do this in one take. Okay, so I kind of want to pivot a little bit and ask you a question, Jodie. So I think you have a lot of knowledge on this, but I want to talk about some inclusive language, because I know that wording is important. But when we're referring to people with cancer, could you just talk like a little bit more about that, what that looks like?
I think that language is really powerful and really important. And I think that sometimes in our society, we have this, we actually, I think, don't realize just how impactful language can be and how powerful language can be and what that looks like. So I think for me, it's really important to hold myself accountable to always be using the most inclusive language that we possibly can. I think that includes when we're working with people who have a cancer diagnosis. And I think that that's one of the main things is unless a person identifies as a disabled person, that we should typically always use person first language. So what that would look like as it relates to a person who has cancer is just that. We're putting the person and the individual before their disease or before their diagnosis. So it's person with cancer instead of cancer patient. We're really looking at the person's humanity beyond their diagnosis. That's one that's really important. So specifically as it relates to cancer, and I hear this a lot, is people will use battle metaphors. So people are fighting cancer, they're a cancer warrior, and that's fine if the person wants to talk about them and describes themselves in that way. But it also describes that cancer is, or it kind of implies that it's a battle that could be lost due to lack of effort or willpower. And it really has nothing to do with that. So I think if we could instead use words like we're managing cancer, living with cancer, being treated for cancer, that type of thing, I think is really important. And then also just being mindful of recovery language. So not everybody has the privilege of being cured from their cancer. Some people are experiencing cancer that is going to end their life. And I think being able to give people that space to be able to, know that there may not be a cure for them, or, staying super positive, but instead let's focus on meeting the individual where they're at in their treatment. So Irene, do you have anything to add?
I think you spoke really perfectly on that. There's a lot of debate in the counseling world about person first versus identity first language, but I totally agree with Jodie. Go based off of the person that you're working with. People identify differently with the journey that they're going through with any sort of illness. And so I think it's really empowering for us to follow the way that they identify in that. And that's how I approach it in my counseling, at least.
Yeah, I like that. And I think one of the things that I think is really important too is being diagnosed with cancer. Cancer, there's a lot of different aspects of the disease and different variations, different stages and things like that. And I think it's important to honor the person's where they're at in their journey. Maybe it's somebody's been diagnosed with cancer and the outcome is really good. The fact is they've still been diagnosed with cancer, and that can be a pretty scary a pretty scary diagnosis. And I think sometimes we have a tendency to brush that journey away, or say, oh, it's just not that big of a deal if somebody's been diagnosed with cancer, that they might be able to just have a surgery and have it gone right away, but that's still something that they're going through that's very personal and individual to that person. So I think it's just important to really honor and respect the person where they're at. And so, yeah.
Most definitely.
Thank you. Thank you. With that, let's go ahead and move forward to some of our events coming up. The best part. So, Kaylee, if you could talk a little bit more about the past, how you guys have run the events, what that looks like this year for this partnership.
Yeah. So we're doing we've been calling it the Rock Out Cancer concert for I don't even know how many years. So yeah, we're doing our Rock Out Cancer concert. It will be in July. We don't have the exact date yet. But that's the one that we're doing with One Change Group. So we're super excited. that fundraiser had been going on for years and years, and then when COVID hit, the fundraising stopped, as well as meeting in person and everything. So we stopped that fundraiser and then restarted it last year. So this will be our second annual, if you don't include the past 15 years or whatever it's been. But yeah, so we're super excited. Last year we had two, I don't want to like give too much away, but I can say last year we had two bands. This year we're looking at four, possibly more, but I think four. We're going to extend the hours, so it's going to be more festival type feel fundraiser, more relaxed and casual. Won't be like sit down dining. We're going to have food trucks and bands playing, and yeah, it'll be fun. So we're super excited for One Change Group to be involved in the planning of that and putting it all together, and it'll be super beneficial, hopefully, for both of our organizations and our program.
Yes, sounds so fun. Can't wait to be there.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Cool. So, how can the community and our listeners support the work that we're doing together? This is a question for everyone.
Okay.
Anyone can answer.
I think volunteering, so just calling either of our offices and asking what we need help with volunteering, especially as the fundraiser comes up. There's always open volunteers, or open volunteer positions or opportunities that we always want to take people up on. Donating to our program, you can call either one of our organizations and ask how to donate, and tell either of us that you want the donation to be made specifically for this program, or you can donate to either organization. Is always welcome and appreciated. Yeah. Jodie, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't really. I think that what you're talking about is the biggest things, just really, volunteering within the different organizations, helping us with the concert that's going to come up this spring or this summer, excuse me. And then donating. Yeah, I think that, if you can either call our organizations, go online, whatever, and support through your donations as well.
I'd just add that if you don't have like the financial or physical ability to support us in that way, just spreading awareness, going and liking our social media and sharing it out there so people can know about what we're doing, and we can reach a bigger audience to provide those supports.
Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you all for that. So to wrap everything up, we want to just go ahead and bring back our icebreaker. We're kind of doing this every episode. So a little fun question to ask before we end off the call. What is your monthly favorite? So this could be like a general idea, or it could be an item, something you're eating lately, a movie you're watching, whatever you want it to be. So I'll start. My monthly fave is thrifting. I recently got back into thrifting. I go through phases where I'm like, and then I get back on it and I'm so like, I love it. I do it every weekend now. But I've been thrifting some gifts for my Galentine's. This Friday I'm having a Galentine's party. So I got them all like individual hand-picked gifts. So I'm really excited about that. If anyone wants to jump in. What's your favorite, Jodie?
I like the idea of a Galentine too. That's fun.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. Haley, what's one of your monthly faves?
I'm a huge book reader. It's like a very popular book, and it's not new or anything, but it's the book series Throne of Glass. So have you guys read it?
I'm reading that right now.
What book are you on? What number?
I think I'm on number 4.
Oh my god. Okay, so I just finished. I read books 6 and 7 together, like a tandem read.
Okay.
So I finished those at like why I'm so tired today. I finished them like 1:30 in the morning last night because I have problems when I read. I can't put my books down. But so I'm on book number 8 now, and I'm gonna start it tonight and probably stay up all night. But I love it. I'm obsessed.
Oh my!
I just love reading. And I've read all of Sarah J. Maas's other series and books. So I'm like obsessed
Yes.
with it.
Did you see that her new Crescent City book came out on the 30th? So there's
Yes,
one.
and I was like, I didn't plan it well. I thought I could finish this series faster than I could, but then I got busy on the weekend, so I didn't finish it. But I wanted to be able to read the Crescent City book, the third one, like when it came out, but I'm gonna be like 2 weeks behind. It's fine.
I am obsessed with her right now. Irene and I were actually talking about her, and I'm like you. I've been staying up super
Yeah.
late on my breaks and everything. I'm reading these books, and it's becoming an issue.
No, I have. When I read the A Court of Thorns and Roses, I read it like a few years ago, but I got like upset. Like it became my personality. I have a tattoo of it.
Oh, wow.
Problem.
Were
Like
you
I'm with reading.
Farrah, Kaylee?
What?
Were you Farrah? What's your tattoo?
Yeah, well, my grandpa, so you guys know my grandpa Alfred, but he wanted to read it because he knew that I had a tattoo of it, so I just gave him my books, and he texted me and he's like, "You're disgusting." I'm like, "What?"
Yes,
I was like,
to our listeners,
if
it's
you ever meet a 500-year-old fairy, send him my way.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
happily married, but it's fine.
Oh, I love it.
You
Yeah.
guys are funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Irene, what about you? What's your monthly fave?
My monthly fave has been a London fog, actually. I recently rediscovered them, and so I try to have like mindful mornings where I have my, well, it was coffee, but right now it's a London fog, and just start my day off calm. And I don't know, there's just something about that vanilla and honey mixture that really starts my day off peacefully. So
Yes.
I've really been enjoying the London fog. Yeah.
That sounds great. And then last but not least, Jodie, what about you? What's your monthly fave?
I don't know. I kind of want to steal Kaylee's and Irene because I love London fog, and I'm obsessed with Sarah Maas too. It's going to be my monthly faves. So Irene had bought this book, pre-ordered this book for us. And it's in the mail on the way to my house. And so I think it's my monthly fave, and I haven't even started it yet. How do you pronounce the author's name? Is it
I have no idea. Michaelides or something like that.
Yeah.
He's the silent patient author for those who.
Yeah, and so this is his third book, and that's being released in English. So I'm really excited about that coming out too. Another monthly fave, I already talked to you guys a little bit about it, but it's called a functional electrical stimulation bike, and I've been using that. I'm really excited about it. If you don't know what that is, I'd encourage you to go look it up online, but it's pretty amazing. So I have a lot of faves right now.
Good.
I'm in this whole red light theory thing too, or this red light therapy thing too, because I tried it out when I was in Idaho over Christmas, and so I've been doing a little bit more research on that. So,
Ooh la
I know
la.
that right now too.
That sounds fancy. Very cool. Well, thank you all so much for joining this morning and carving out some time in your day. Yeah, thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
We'll talk to y'all later. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, I'll stop recording. Thank you all.